One thing I do want to clarify about Canada is those that we do not say a boot. We don't say that anywhere. Hello, welcome to episode 6 of JoomCast, the podcast that features people who are part of the Joomla community and discovers how they got here, what they contribute to Joomla, where they're going, and a whole bunch more. My name is Tim Davis of Cybersalt and the Basic Joomla Tutorials YouTube channel, and I'm here with my co-host Chetan Madaan of JoomDev, who are behind Asteroid Framework for Joomla and the newly released Page Builder for Joomla, JD Builder. Hi, Chetan.
Hi, Tim. For those of you who don't know about Joomla, Joomla is a very popular CMS, a content management system for building websites. As of this recording date, Joomla is running version 3.9.10 stable, and for Joomla 4, we have version Alpha 10. And Joomla 4 is hoping to be released within next 4 to 6 months. So by the end of the year, we should have it, which is the next big thing.
We want to hear from you. You can contact us on Twitter at JoomCast, or if you're listening to us on Anchor.fm, you can push the message button and leave a voice comment up to a minute long. We might even include your comment in a future episode. Let's meet our guest for today. Adam Melcher is a Joomla certified administrator and avid supporter of the Joomla community. With over a decade of extensive Joomla development, he has had the opportunity to create experiences using Joomla with some of the largest companies in the US. Specializing in e-commerce and practical integrations for small to medium-sized companies, he's been able to help businesses streamline their processes while increasing their online sales and profitability.
Hi, Adam. Welcome to JoomCast.
Thank you. That was a mouthful. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you got into doing Joomla.
I actually started in the sales and marketing side. I owned a telemarketing company for many years, and for the first 2 decades of my life, I spent picking up the phone and calling people at their place of business, and in 3 minutes trying to get a sale and then move on to the next one. And so about 10 years ago, I was helping a relative of mine get a basic e-commerce site set up, and I went and Googled it to see what was out there, and I came across VirtuMart, and by default became acquainted with Joomla. And after I finally realized that they were not one and the same, they were two separate things, started putting together a store. And never had any formal programming experience, but I did have a love for sales and marketing and the creative side. And I found that the better I got, the more I understand Joomla, the more I understood how everything worked, the more sales came in. And so I said, this is pretty cool. You know, I have the more knowledge that I'm able to acquire about this, it seems like it's put more money in my pocket. So for the first 7 years of my Joomla journey, it was really just working on our store. Then we opened up a couple additional ones, but it wasn't building any sites for any other clients. It was all just myself. I like to say I was driving without an odometer. I didn't know how fast I was going or how far I was going because I never went to any of the Joomla events or any of that stuff. But it wasn't until about 2 years ago when I went to my first Joomla Day event down in Florida that I realized that over those years I must have acquired a good bit of knowledge, and I realized that I may actually know something about this. And so came back to Nashville, and people started asking me if I could help build their sites for them, and one thing led to another, and now I sold the other business, and I do this full time. There's a lot more in between there, but that's kind of in a nutshell what took me from there to here now.
It's kind of fun to be able to look back at a time in your life when you didn't realize the impact or the doors that Joomla was going to open up. You just started out doing something, and then along the way it's like, hey, I can do so much more with this, and I can make a living out of this.
And by default, the doors that Joomla has opened for me personally, with the connections that I've had a chance to meet, the people that I've had to meet, industry leaders, business owners, and top icons of industry, it's been pretty phenomenal. I mean, here we literally have 3 different countries on this Zoom call right now, all because of Joomla, which is amazing if you really think about it.
I want to talk about a Joomla Day because I've never been to a Joomla Day before. We don't have them over here. And Tim, you haven't been to any Joomla Day either yet, right?
No, and a couple of years ago there was a convention in Vancouver, which is doable for me, but I had other things happening at that time. So no, not yet.
What was your experience like in the Joomla Day Florida? How many people were there? What it's like to be there?
I don't mean this in a negative. It's more of a fun kind of joking. Whenever my wife would say, which conference are you going to this time? I'm like, oh, it's one of my nerd conferences. And so she knows right away it's a development something, whether it's e-commerce or a Joomla event. So I went. Jason Nickerson throws a great Joomla Day conference. I went down there, and originally the goal was to get certified as a administrator. I didn't know what that entailed, but I thought that'd be pretty cool. I've never gone to any formal schooling, so maybe I can put that on the wall instead of a blank piece of paper. If it means anything. But it actually meant far more to me than I thought it did beforehand. What it did for me when I went and took the exam, it was far more difficult than I was expecting. But when I walked out of there, somehow I don't know, maybe I got enough sleep the night before. I missed just a couple of the questions. But when I got out, I realized I know a lot more than I thought I did. And that's what the test gave me. When I came back from that, it was this added boost of confidence that I was able to walk into a meeting and almost slam that badge down on the desk and say, I'm the only certified Joomla administrator in the state of Tennessee. Now, I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but being the only anything in any state in the U.S., it must have impressed enough people because I was able to get some jobs immediately out of that, and that's when I made the full switch after I left there. But there was probably, there was a couple hundred, but there was about 30 of us that had gone down there to get certified. So we went and took the prep class the Friday before, and that's where we got a chance to meet everybody, and we got to see who the class clowns were. I'm not raising my hand right now. But we made some great relationships over that time. And then afterwards, we were all bragging to see what our scores were and who knew Joomla better than the other. And then there was a big party afterwards where everybody that went to the event all had a chance to mingle and have some drinks and hors d'oeuvres and meet some of the leadership team. And you walk away with more than just learning like how to do something in Joomla. It's realizing that everybody else is on the same journey and that there have been some deals that I've been able to put together with other developers that I had met there. And in fact, Alex, who I do a lot of work with at Source Coast, I met not at that event, but I had met at another e-commerce event that he happened to be at. I saw his shirt logo and I said, hey, I know you. I've been using you. In fact, I'm speaking today about e-commerce, and one of these tools that I'm talking about is your extension. So you have to be in there to hear my talk. So
Right.
it was right there on the PowerPoint. I mean, it was like it couldn't have been planned any better. But from that, we've had a great relationship. Same as with Robbie at Fabric. Met her at that first Joomla Day event. We've worked on some great projects together as well. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea. And we will be at Joomla World Conference. For me, they always say it's open source. It doesn't cost anything, but it does. And the thing is that if we don't put back into the project, then the project's going to wither away and die. And everybody who builds their living off of Joomla or Joomla makes their life easier, we have to contribute back. If that means flying halfway around the world to go to the once-a-year event, for me, I will do it because what Joomla's given me has been far more than what I've given back to that. So it's the least that I can do.
Now, are you going to be speaking in London?
Hopefully. I've definitely submitted a couple requests, but hopefully Rowan and the team will hear this and be able to at least push the button on yay or nay. Either way, I'll be there. It's a fun, exciting, and it's also a great excuse just to get out of here a little bit and go see the other part of the world where they actually still, it's not all just based on WordPress or Shopify. There are strong communities, out there, and
In the US, the user base isn't that strong if we compare it to people over in the Europe, and that's where most of the developers are from as well. You look at top Joomla extensions, Akiba Backup or Regular Labs or any of those folks, they're all from somewhere in the Europe. So
somewhere other than the US, yeah.
Right, somewhere other than the US. You could say that, right. So the Joomla community outside the US is very solid, specifically in Europe. And again, you're the second person who does like services for a living, like you provide services rather than selling extensions. So my questions are really going to be, if someone wants to, let's say get started, it's really going to be about acquiring clients, keeping clients, and how do you sell Joomla to clients? And when they come hustling to you like, hey, I need WordPress, because that's what has been happening to literally every one of us who has has been either maintaining Joomla websites, building Joomla websites, or working in Joomla.
Well, on top of that, if you can answer, you'll talk about how you do that in your business. You describe your business as a boutique firm. So that's a description that comes with a planned approach to that. So I wanted to ask you about that if you want to expand on all those things.
For me, when I say boutique, it's because when I do pick up a good-sized client, it's usually going to be e-commerce related. That's my passion, is figuring out how to get somebody to click something to give me their money. And if that means the me is the client. And if you can show your client, it's very simple to me. If you can help your client make more money after they've met you than before, they will keep you around forever, and you will always have job security because you never let go of the guys, the money guys, the ones that are making you money. That's job security. So the answer to your question, though, and it does get asked a lot, and I know when I go and I speak at different Joomla Day events or even just general e-commerce events, the one that I was speaking at where Alex was at that I had mentioned, that wasn't a Joomla event, but it was hosted by Jason Nickerson, who's on the Joomla leadership team. It was more of a multi-platform event. But so when I was there talking about it, I was using examples from J2 Store and Joomla sites that I've built. But most of the people in the room were like WordPress, Shopify, mainly just like the WooCommerce type stuff. And They said, Ramesh had sent me an email the following week, and he said, I don't know whatever you said, but I had 6 people from WordPress send me emails asking me if we had a WordPress version of J2 Store available for them. But what it really comes down to is they're just tools. Joomla, WordPress, Shopify, Magento, Drupal, they're all just tools. And so if you're going to hire somebody to build your house, you're not going to sit there and say, hey, I want you to use only DeWalt tools and don't use Makita. If this guy's a master builder and his favorite tools are Makita tools, let the guy use whatever tools he wants to build your palace. The end result is all that matters. So when somebody comes in and they say, I only want WordPress, my biggest question I ask them is why? Do you want WordPress or, if WordPress or whatever site that they're using? And I'm not saying this on a negative way because I honestly don't know enough about all these other platforms. I only do Joomla. I only do Joomla for one reason, and that's because I am very knowledgeable about it, and I know everything, the ins and the outs. So if they need to do something, and I'm sitting down with them, and I know what it can or can't do, then I have a much better chance of closing that deal because I can figure out how to tailor that experience around their business instead of having to fit their business into a box because I'm not as confident or I'm not as sure about how to do something. And so I found that these businesses, when they come to me, they are very, very good at their business. And they're good at their business for a reason because they didn't focus on 10 different businesses. They focused on their own. And so if I focus on giving them the best chance at success online, and the best chance for them is me being super comfortable and familiar with all the tools and everything that it can and can't do, then I'm giving them the best of me. They're getting the best of me, and therefore their customers or clients are getting the best of them. And so in the end, people aren't buying into WordPress or Joomla. They're buying into you. They're buying into me. They're buying into us as to what we can deliver for them. The CMSs are just platforms. There's people out there that can do what I do in Joomla on WordPress and Shopify. And if somebody comes across one of them, they can have the same exact experience as somebody having the experience with me. It's just the difference with me is that when I sit down with them, they're getting more than just a developer. They're getting somebody that has owned a business before, that is sat on their side of the desk and knows that in a lot of cases, they may not have updated their site in years and they've saved up money to do a complete rebuild overhaul. You're like their last hope to really get things turned around. So they're, it's e-commerce sites are totally different than any other website that's out there. It's somebody's livelihood that if you mess it up, it could really mess things up for them for a long time.
So what you're saying is instead of selling WordPress or Joomla or Hikashop or Virtuemart, you should be focusing on selling yourself. right? And from a client's perspective, I mean, obviously we can't really tell them, but it's really about service provider. And even from a client's perspective, they should be more towards what they're buying instead of what platform this person is using. They should look at if the person can deliver what I'm looking for, not how he can deliver it.
Exactly. It's really comes down to, usually if somebody wants a specific platform, it's because that's the platform they've been on and they're familiar with it, and they don't want to have to learn something new. But if you can deliver a Ferrari to somebody that's been asking you for a Honda, not that there's anything wrong with Hondas, but if you had a choice between one or the other, look, if you're gonna pick one of the two cars and I tell you that car is going to be for my 16-year-old daughter, I guarantee you I'm going with the Honda. Even though the Ferrari is a way cooler car, there are clients that come to me that I refer them to other developers because I'm not the right guy for them. But by freeing that space up and not getting stuck in something that I know is not something I'm passionate about, something that I know I'm giving them somebody that can do a better job for them, and I'm freeing my time up to spend on other clients that I am working on projects that I can be super passionate and give them my all. So when I say boutique, Tim, it's kind of code word for I only have a small amount of clients, but these clients don't want to let me go, so I only have so much time that I have. And so it's a good position to be in. Instead of having to constantly be churning and burning different website templates and stuff, I'm able to focus on just a handful and really get them dialed in where I know it in and out. I've built the template from scratch, so there's nothing that I need to wonder, like, why did this developer do this, or why did I do this, why did I not do that instead of somebody else.
Yeah, and it's a good description because in a retail space, a boutique is where special clients or really appreciated clients go in, get an appointment, get special attention. Oh, you're back. Oh, this would go great with the shoes you bought last month. And they're known and they like that experience.
And you're a one-man shop, right? You don't have any full-time employees apart from the partnerships you may have with Alex or other folks. You don't have any full-time employees, right?
I don't. I've been trying to avoid it as long as possible. My previous business, I had 65 employees, and so that was on a completely different end of the spectrum for me, where I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't just pick up and go somewhere for a week, or if I wanted to go travel, if I needed to go visit a client, go visit my parents back in California or wherever, I can still bring my computer with me. I can still interact with clients, but I do have a couple clients that I do work on parts of their teams where I do have some of their team members that do work, I don't want to say underneath me, but beside me on different things. But my wife also has been really great at doing the content management. She's a photographer, so she helps when it comes to the maintenance side of things. A client needs something changed. But I really try and empower the clients to be able to make the edits and changes themselves, because I hate doing that kind of stuff. I like building, I like creating, I like A/B testing, I like seeing what stuff works. I hate being the guy to, hey, can you change this image for me? It's like I'd rather just give them the ability to click a button, change an image on the front end, and move on to the next. There's different schools of thought. I've met some developers that like doing that stuff because they feel like that kind of stuff keeps the client close to them. But I feel like if I still sell the client on a maintenance developer type plan where it's focused more on, let's create some ad campaigns, let's do some newsletter templates, let's run some different marketing promotions depending on the upcoming holidays or sales or whatever it is that we're putting together, and let's see if we can increase sales every month in, month out. Those are the things that get me excited to kick the sheets off in the morning when I wake up.
Or what's your backup plan, since you're a one man, and when you say maintenance, you may host some of these sites, or you may be the only person apart from your client who has access to these sites. In case something goes wrong, you're traveling. How do you deal with something like that?
Well, I do have several other developers that I do have a list of their information I give to all my clients, and they know they're on the short list that should something happen to me, God forbid, plane crashes or something, and the client has all their the server host login information, but should they need somebody to help manage those sites or keep things rolling, I've given them other Joomla developers that I am totally familiar with that can step in if need be. But the same thing that I sell them on, that's my biggest asset, which is me, is also my biggest detriment because it's hard to duplicate me versus having a system. And I know that the larger I get, the less of me is able to be with these different clients. And so for now, at least for me, I like having just a handful of clients that I can really work on a day in, day out, month in, month out basis. And while I'm still trying to decide if I want to really scale this or, stay at the boutique level.
So Joomla 3 has been out for 5 years, and we're looking forward to Joomla 4 later this year. How do you feel about Joomla 3 as you're using it now?
Look, I mean, if you really think about it, we're still on version 3 5 years later, which in the web is like an eternity. And yet I could still run circles around anybody that I know using, a 5-year-old, CMS. And that just shows the power of really how strong Joomla is. I mean, there's so many things that people don't even really use. I noticed looking at your site, Tim, that you have been using tags, but so many people out there don't even use tags. They don't use custom fields. I mean, I've done complete Joomla Day sessions on custom fields by themselves, just showing people how powerful they are. And using them with J2 Store really just opens the door and allows, there's really nothing that I haven't been able to do yet.
I feel that I should say, since you've been to my site, that it's the mechanic's car that never gets worked on. So.
Yeah, same as mine. I mean, I haven't touched mine in like a year and a half, so I know how it is. It's a reflection of where we were, 5-6 years ago, not where we are today. But I guess if we had enough time to do all that, then there must be a problem with something on the front end, right?
Now, you mentioned that you've built some killer sites without adding an extension, just using the Joomla core. So how did you do that?
Well, I've actually done an actual video demonstration showing exactly how to build a one-page site using nothing but articles. I mean, I've built music players off of Joomla articles and custom fields where they just create a new article, add the MP3 file to it, and everything else was all done through layout overrides. I live off of those. I mean, I get an extension. I don't care where it comes from. I'm immediately going and creating the template overrides on it so I can make sure that it looks and feels the same of everything else on the site. But yeah, I'll send that over. It was something I'd done for a couple other Joomla user groups around the country that had a whole PowerPoint and even the actual template, the Akiba backup version, so you can see exactly how I did it. There was a period where I went from one extreme of buying every module, every extension like everybody does when they get started, to the other extreme of, hey, I wonder how much I can really push this to the limit. And so, yeah, I've created, as long as it's not an e-commerce site, then which I use J2 Store, then everything else, rarely will I ever, other than Akiba backup, which I'll always have on there.
You're a fan of J2 Store, right? I mean, you've said that 50 times. There must be something in it. Tell us why you like J2 Store that much.
I like J2 Store because, and I still have active sites. In fact, my original sites that got me started are still built off of VirtueMart. But VirtueMart is its own ecosystem inside of Joomla, whereas J2 Store, for me, each of the products live off of the Joomla articles. And so because of that, it allows me to use the tags, it allows me to use custom fields. And so I'm able to really mold each client's e-commerce store depending on what they need, what information they want to provide. I'm able to control that experience on a client basis and not have to do any hard coding for that simple fact alone. With Ramesh, he's gotten spent hours on Zoom calls with me, helping me work on stuff. And I think he gets a kick of seeing the stuff I do with his e-commerce platform as well. Same reason why I stick with Joomla is the same reason why I stick with J2 Store, is that I know it in and out.
Any notable work, any great sites you've built on Joomla you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's been a couple. There's one that's called eBars, EBARS. .com, and it's here in Franklin, Tennessee. It's one of the highest certified food nutrition bars in the country. So that was a great project. We've done a lot of custom stuff for them, and really it's exciting because since about 6 months ago, since we really started integrating AC mailing emails with them and integrating it with J2 Store, and we have a couple extensions that we've developed for that. they've literally seen their sales increase by about 20% every month since then. And every Tuesday morning when that email goes out, they see a spike in sales. And because they're on subscription, every month it just keeps increasing. And so that's exciting because we can really see growth and really see things really start to take off. Another one is a brain performance site that's really exciting because that to me is, we're doing a lot of cutting edge stuff in there. We have so many background integrations with our fulfillment company where the orders automatically get dropped into that system, and everything there is all Joomla, and it's called Bipri, BIPRI.com. And then there's a rocking chair company here also in Tennessee called Hinkle Chair Company. They're the oldest company I've ever worked with. They're 185 years old. The funny thing is I met the general manager on a flight when I was flying back to LA about 18 months ago, and I was sitting next to him, and we were talking about Amazon and some other stuff, and he said, "Man, I don't think we've even touched our site in a couple of years." I said, "Let me see it." So I pulled up the laptop. So a couple months later, they called me in. I sat down with the leadership team, and he was right. They hadn't touched it in a couple of years.
I've just been looking at those while you talked about them. We'll put links in the description in this edition because they're great examples of Joomla sites and e-commerce. They look
good. I'm looking at eBots right now. No, they're going to send you organic traffic.
Adam, what are you excited about for Joomla 4?
I've played around with some of the latest beta versions. I think for me, because there's so many different things, that extensions and stuff that we've built, and I know Joomla 3 so well, that a part of me is almost not excited about it because I know that it's going to be additional levels of stuff that I'm going to have to reacquaint myself, relearn. But I think the good thing about it is that having Joomla 4 out will I think, get a lot of people that may have been kind of on the fringe or haven't really looked at Joomla in a while to maybe dust off. It's like a new car model that's a completely different model that may get some excitement. And I think it doesn't hurt to have some excitement in the Joomla world.
Let's talk a little bit about your future, where you see yourself in 5 years from now.
When people ask me what I like most about what I do, I think back to when I was first starting my company in LA, and I remember sleeping on the desk because we were trying to get our servers up, and we were trying to get the phones working, and it was Sunday night, and everybody was coming in to get on the phones Monday morning, and when you're the owner, you're the janitor, firefighter, therapist. You're everything.
Everything.
Right. You're the guy they call when the crap hits the fan. And so if the crap hits the fan and it's Sunday night, there's nobody that you can call at that time that's going to come out and and not charge you 10
insane
times the
fees
amount.
to get it done. Right.
So I just remember having to work, all night and then sleeping on the desk and waking up just in time to open the door so I can let them in and then go home and take a shower and come back. That first year was the most exciting time for me because every little change you made, you can see it, because you didn't have anything before to compare it to. It's like you just create a new system here. And so when I meet with a new client and I start working with them, that to me is like my first year. It's like every little tweak, every little change you do, you can see the difference. It was the last 5 or 6 years of that business that it was like I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. I was trapped. I had all these employees. I couldn't, and that's the part that I hated, which is why when we talked earlier, I was telling you about how I was having a difficult time in my head going back to hiring a full staff team. But so for me, the future is the same as the past. Is that the winds of change and fortune, they blow on all of us. It's not the winds that affect any of us. It's the set of the sail. And by being really good and helping my clients or any developer, helping their clients become bigger, better, more profitable than they were before they met them, they are controlling the sail. And so when that wind blows in, they're able to take the boat wherever they need to go.
That brings us to rapid fire. All right, other than Akiba, J2 Store, which you've obviously mentioned a lot already, and anything from Regular Labs, because those guys always get mentioned.
I don't use them, actually.
Oh, perfect.
I don't use them, so there you go. Sorry about that.
So one person that hates Peter. Well, yeah, right?
We'll send him your address.
I'll probably see him at Joomla World Conference, so I got to be careful, right?
Yeah, I think he's on the committee that decides who speaks.
I love them.
Name a favorite extension of yours.
AC Mailing.
AC Mailing, great. What is one thing that you'd like to change in Joomla, assuming you were in charge?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
That's okay.
Maybe the world's perception.
Something you'd like or love about Joomla.
I love the fact that I can do whatever I need to with it, that it out the box, with the exception of the Contact Us section, everything else is really do whatever needs to be done without having to do any hard coding whatsoever.
Name someone who contributes a lot to Joomla.
I would say out here, Jason Nickerson's done a lot. He's been the one that's created a lot of the Joomla Day Florida events. And then I know Robbie with Fabric. She's down in Texas. Well, they're both down in Texas now. And then, those two in the States have really done a lot to contribute to the project and are super knowledgeable about it.
Can you succeed without a college degree in Joomla?
Yeah, you can succeed without a driver's license too at Joomla. That's the
That's a great answer.
Nobody checks that. It just comes back to the very end that when they hire you, they're not hiring you for your education. They're hiring you for what they feel that you can help them with.
When you are coding, what operating system do you use and what editor do you use?
Contrary to what everybody else seems to be using, I'm a Windows guy. All my stuff is Windows. I use Notepad++, and I use Atom, ATOM editor.
All right, that's the end of Rapid Fire. Hey, is there anything we didn't ask you that you want to mention or talk about?
No, if anybody that is listening to this that wants help, I'm not talking about like paid help, but just wants some real help regarding Joomla, that has questions, that wants to know how I did something, just reach out and ask, because I will do whatever I can to help them along their journeys. There's been plenty that have helped me along mine, and I'm a firm believer of paying it forward. So, and I'll send you also that one-page example with the video and how I did it, and where you can dissect it and see exactly what I did. But yeah, so whatever I can do to help you guys, just let me know.
Last question. How can people reach out to you? What's your email or Twitter, or how do you prefer?
I'm still old school. I guess I'm email. I'm not a millennial, so email still work for me. You can reach me at adam@newlinewebdesign.com. That
was easy. That's the end of it, Adam.
Man, I'm kind of sad.
Why are you sad, Adam?
I enjoy this. I can go to my wife says, like, you guys brought the nerd convention to my office tonight instead of me having to fly somewhere to go to it. So I could talk about this for days. I get excited talking about it because there's so few of us out here that actually understand what I'm talking about.
Hence the reason we started this. Hence the reason we started it.
Adam, thanks very much for being a guest. I have learned a lot, as I tend to do in every episode, and really excited about that and appreciate your time.
Well, thank you guys both for having me on. And if there's anything else that I can help you guys with, just let me know.
JoomCast is recorded in front of a live audience at JoomDev headquarters simply because my employees enjoy any chance to get to sit around and watch me work for a change. If you want to reach me personally, my Twitter handle is @Chetan Madaan, that's ChetanMadaan. And if you want to reach Tim Davis, you can reach him at Twitter @BasicJoomla. We welcome your comments and ideas and suggestions for guests or for JoomCast. Tweet us at JoomCast, that's JoomCast. Or if you're listening to us on Anchor.fm, hold the message button and leave us a comment.
Chetan, my friend, that's a wrap for episode 6. It's been great to spend time with you and the Joomla community again.
And Adam. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, guys.
Until next time, enjoy your Joomla sites. God bless.